Hi everybody! 大家好! I welcome you to Jade Palace Yamingo. My name is Yaya. 'Tis the spooky season, so let's talk about a spooky topic. Let's get started. Warning, the topics in this video has mentions of death, murder, human trafficking, and grave robbing. If any of these topics make you uncomfortable, proceed with caution. You see a red envelope on the floor, and you think it's your lucky day. What would you do? Would you pick it up or leave it be? You leave it be. Congratulations, that is the correct answer, and you leave without harm. You pick it up. Though I suppose congratulations are still in order. You just picked yourself up, a ghost bride. Minghuan, also known as ghost marriage, is the tradition of finding a spouse for someone that's deceased. The spouse chosen can be either alive or dead. There are different types of ghost marriages where both the partners are deceased or where a deceased person is married to a living person. Originally, ghost marriages were strictly meant only for the dead. It wasn't until recent times that it's evolved to include a living person marrying a spirit. While this practice gives off a sense of old tradition, it's older than we might imagine. Okay, we're not exactly sure when this tradition started. Some believe as early as the Shang Dynasty, but we do have records of it happening in the records of the Three Kingdoms. When one of Cao Cao's son, Cao Chong, died at the young age of 12, his family scrambled to find him a wife. Eventually, they found a deceased daughter of the Zhen family. They would be posthumously wed and buried together. We even have mentions of the practice of ghost marriages in official documents as early as the Shang Dynasty to the peak of the Tang Dynasty. Why does this tradition exist? Why does it still happen? There's actually many reasons why ghost marriages exist. A lot of it stems from religious, traditional, and cultural beliefs. In Chinese culture, we have a deep belief of ancestral worship, meaning that we believe the dead live on in the afterlife, so that we, as the living, need to ensure that their needs are met. And yes, that includes finding a spouse for them if they passed on unmarried. And there are reasons why that is important. The first is for progeny reasons. If a man has died before having married, his parents would arrange a ghost marriage to give him his own descendants, especially if he is the only son. Family lineage is important, so after finding a wife for the son, his family would adopt a child from a male-related kin as an heir to continue the family line. In addition to this, another traditional belief is that younger siblings are not permitted to marry before the older sibling. Weird, I know, but family hierarchy is important. In cases where older siblings pass on unwed, ghost marriages would be arranged so that the younger sibling can marry without dishonoring the older sibling's status. This also gives the family more progeny options, as the younger sibling can give actual descendants from the direct bloodline. And lastly, as horrible as it sounds, it's seen as shameful for a woman to be without a husband, even after death, to the point where unmarried women would not be allowed to be buried in their family plots, or even sometimes be allowed to be formally buried at all. How does one arrange a ghost marriage? When the family has reached the decision, they would find a matchmaker. The process of arranging traditional ghost marriages are almost the same as living marriage arrangements. After finding a matchmaker, or even sometimes a priest, they would search for families that are compatible. This is done by comparing horoscopes, or 八字, and seeing if they are favorable. Once a spouse has been found, bride wealth and dowry would be exchanged. The amount and value would be determined by the families. During the ceremony, since one or both participants are deceased, they are sometimes represented by cloth, bamboo, or paper effigies. Many of the objects in the ceremony would be made from paper, especially items meant for the bride or groom. These items could include household items, a trunk full of paper clothes, paper servants, and so on. Reasons for this is because they're sacrifices meant to follow the couple into the afterlife, which means they need to be burnable. Both the bride and groom would always be treated as if they were alive. They would be fed, escorted into the transportation, announced, everything, all performed true to Chinese custom. The only difference is that in ghost marriage ceremonies, the ancestral tablets would be placed in the effigies, and by the end of the ceremony, the bride's tablet would be placed with the groom's family. At the very end of the ceremony, all effigies, including those of the bride and groom, would be burned as a way to release them into the afterlife. There's a modern way that's seen more prevalent in Taiwan that doesn't require the aid of a matchmaker or priest. This arrangement requires a living person to marry a spirit. Remember the red envelope? This tradition is only performed by the deceased bride's family to find a husband. Typically, the family will place a red envelope in a public place as bait. The belief is that fate would determine the most suitable husband for the bride. They would hide nearby, and when a passerby picks up the red envelope, they would reveal themselves and announce that he has been chosen as the bridegroom. The would-be groom is usually forced into the ceremony, as it is seen as extremely bad luck if he refuses. The bride may haunt him and cause misfortune if he doesn't agree. What does this entail? What does it mean to be in a ghost marriage? If both partners are deceased, not much. Their tablets are placed in the ancestral hall. If one of the partners is alive, then there are some rules that they need to follow. There are definitely gender biases when it comes to a living woman in a ghost marriage and a living man in a ghost marriage. For men, the spirit will be his primary wife. He is allowed to marry a living woman, but the ghost bride is his primary wife. The living wife usually has to perform daily rituals to honor the ghost wife based on the spirit's request. If the man is already married and already has a living wife, the ghost wife will still take the place of the primary wife position. If a living woman is in a ghost marriage, she is not allowed a living husband. Her role is only that of a social instrument that allows the family to adopt an heir. She would participate in mourning practices and live with the man's family. She would even have to take a vow of celibacy and live a chaste life. It's kind of unfair. There are many controversies when it comes to ghost marriages, as you can imagine. It can get so bad that it's actually illegal in many places. But people still find a way. The imbalance between female and male gender ratios are so vast that a black market of female corpses just for the purpose of Minghuan has developed. Rates of grave robbing and stolen female corpses have risen exponentially. One set of female remains can sell for at least $10,000 USD. And grave robbing isn't the worst of it. Human trafficking is a big issue, which takes advantage of mentally disabled women. In one case, a mentally disabled woman was sold by her family, given a fake death certificate, and then trafficked to another province for a ghost marriage. Women have been legitimately murdered so that their corpses could be sold on the black market. Sadly, this is because she has more worth as a corpse than alive. While the ritual itself has become hush-hush, we start to see it mentioned more in pop culture. The most popular one being Netflix original series the Ghost Bride from 2020, which brought attention to this practice outside of Asia. So the next time you see a red envelope on the floor, it's probably best just to leave it be and walk on by. I have a Teespring. If you'd like to support the channel, I have a lot of super cute designs that I'm really proud of, like this Halloween one. So check it out if you can. Link is in the description below. So what do you guys think? Would you participate in a ghost marriage? Leave a comment down below because I would like to know. You can also let me know what topics you would like to see me cover in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to Jade Palace Yamingong. I would very much appreciate it. And until next time, happy spooky month. 再见了，拜拜。